Harvest nears, but not before a big surge of water along the Platte River. Good evening and welcome to NTV's Grow. I'm Steve White. Later in the program, we will also learn why some farmers are investing in more storage so they can hold grain for a bigger payout, and visit with an organization whose mission is to tell the story of agriculture with an increasingly urban audience. But we begin with a look at what's happening on the Platte River, where the damage to agricultural land is yet to be assessed. Some water from the Platte was diverted into irrigation canals. That water will soak into the ground and help recharge the underground aquifer. The water will continue to flow into those canals for a couple weeks, and drought may have lessened the damage as the water soaks in, causing only minor concerns. However, it's unclear at this point about the impact of floodwater on crop and pasture land. Ensuring there's enough water for irrigation as well as wildlife and people. That was a main focal point of a recent conference held in Kearney. NTV's Alyssa Willard has more.
The Nebraska Association for Resources Districts annual conference was another jam-packed two-day event filled with speakers, award ceremonies, and plenty of networking opportunities for all.
The main goal is to educate Nebraskans and to show them the different things that we do. We were created by the state legislature in 1972. We have a broad range of responsibilities. Some are very well known and some are a little obscure, and we wanted people to fully see the gamut of things that we do.
Topics of water, forest, and land conservation were heavily discussed for much of the conference in an effort to continue raising awareness on ways to help conserve Nebraska across the state.
There's a lot of different things that the entities do. Sometimes a lot of people don't realize how many things we actually have as our responsibility, and trails, recreation areas, groundwater management, both quality and quantity, and things like that are very important to Nebraskans.
Water conservation was the hot topic and biggest focal point. With drought still a lingering issue for Nebraska, the less that's available, the less there will be for wildlife, farming, and drinking.
It's been very, very nice to have the moisture. Unfortunately, we're still within the drought, which is causing us problems, and people are going to continue to see their trees actually die over the next couple of years. They're suffering, they're weakened from the drought. Insect and pathogens are attacking them, and unfortunately they'll finally give up and they will die.
Alyssa Willard, NTV News, Kearney.
Cattle numbers fall in Nebraska and across the country, with placements in feedlots at a 17-year low. Nebraska feedlots with capacities over 1,000 head combined for a total of 2 million cattle on feed at the start of the month. Fewer cattle were placed in feedlots in August. Drought is a lingering issue, and some ranchers may be holding cattle back and not sending them to feedlots as they rebuild herds. Is a cow eating your lunch? Researchers are trying to correct the belief some have that animal agriculture takes away food from people. Scientific experts from several states, including Nebraska, have issued a paper on the topic. They say the livestock industry faces challenges to do things in a sustainable way. But they say livestock producers have made great gains thanks to technology and improved practices. Bottom line, the scientists say livestock producers need to better communicate with consumers about the economic, environmental, and nutritional advantages of animal agriculture. Nebraska farmers say they don't want to be taken for a ride when it comes to tax reform. They want to be in the driver's seat. Nebraska Farm Bureau has launched a campaign called Join the Drive, Help Steer Nebraska Taxes. Lawmakers have been holding hearings across the state after the governor's failed attempt to eliminate the income tax. Farm Bureau says property tax collections have grown 73% in the last decade, and Farm Bureau leaders say property taxes are not necessarily an indication of someone's ability to pay. So they say that needs to be the focus of these ongoing talks. Harvest season is getting underway, and much of Nebraska's crops look pretty good. The latest report from the USDA shows 63% of Nebraska's corn crop is in good or excellent condition. However, corn harvest is just 34% complete, compared to 10% average, and 34% finished this time last year. Nebraska's soybean crop is rated 59% good or excellent, with about 3% of that crop harvested. And a new government report says Kansas farmers are harvesting corn, seeding wheat, and preparing for fall harvest. The National Agricultural Statistics Service reports that winter wheat planting in Kansas is 13% complete, which is about average for this time of year. The agency also reported 16% of the Kansas corn crop has now been harvested, well behind the 62% that had been cut by the same time last year. Due to dry conditions this year, the corn crop in Kansas is rated 29% poor to very poor, only 39% good or excellent. Sustainable and renewable are buzzwords with consumers these days, but don't forget those terms also apply at the pump. Ethanol and biodiesel are produced from Nebraska-grown corn and soybeans. According to the Corn Board, these fuels are making a difference for the environment. They say the ethanol industry is producing fuel that is nearly 60% lower in greenhouse gas emissions than gasoline. And research shows biodiesel reduces greenhouse gas emissions up to 86%. September is Renewable Fuels Month. Farm research in Nebraska gets a boost with a $3 million gift. Marvin Stump III of Grant is donating $1 million and land valued at $2 million to the University of Nebraska. Officials say it will expand already strong wheat research to develop new plant science technology. Stumpf has farmed in Perkins County and says this is a way of honoring his family's farm heritage. The State Patrol urges drivers to be cautious as harvest begins. Combines, grain carts, and tractors will be showing up on rural roads. Because of their size and speed, they can reduce visibility for others on the road. Motorists are urged to be cautious when passing or following farm vehicles. Operators of agricultural implements are reminded it's okay for them to drive on the shoulder when available, and always buckle up. And that brings us to our poll question. Have you begun harvest? You can go to our website, Nebraska.tv, click on the Grow logo, and cast your votes. Still to come, learn about grain storage options on the farm, and we talk to the head of AFAN, plus a surprise for the babies of NTV's Grow. Stay with us.